Hey, what's up? In this video, I am going to be talking about the smartest and most efficient way to track your calories and macros so I can give you guys a head start on your journey to weight management. So this video is part of a series called Meathead Math, where I will be breaking down the math and the numbers behind fitness and lifting. So if you missed the last videos, then go ahead to the description box. I will be linking them down below so you fully understand the topics that we will be talking about in this video. So if you're new here, what's up? My name is Cinder and this is the channel where we talk about fitness, lifting, and men's style. So I will try to share the current best practices that most people in the fitness industry apply in their daily routines. Again, I'm no doctor, nutritionist, or personal trainer. I'm just a guy who loves strength training and fitness. So I will be speaking from personal experience and of course my own research as well. So don't take any of the things I say as black and white. Of course, I'm just giving you guys an idea of what to research about as well. So now that we fully understand what calories and macronutrients are and why they're very important to understand when we're trying to manage our own weight, next we need to understand the practical side of things. So how do we actually keep track of our own calories and macros? Again, we need to know these things to give us full control of what's going in our body. This gives us the bigger picture of what is actually going inside our bodies and gives us a better understanding of why things are as they are, so that we will fully understand why we're not gaining weight, why we're not losing weight, etc. So we track our calories and macros on a daily basis. This number is based on a computation that I will be making another video about, so stay tuned for that. But some important tools that you need to start tracking your calories and macros are a food scale, some measuring cups and measuring spoons, of course, and the calorie tracking app. So any food scale will work. I am going to be linking down some recommendations below in the description box, and of course if you purchase from those links, I am going to be getting a small cut out of that, which will help the channel as well. So for the food tracking app, I actually like to use MyFitnessPal. It's a free app and ang kagandahan nito is may Filipino food siya. So keep in mind before I explain these things that calorie tracking is not an exact science, so don't be afraid to play around with estimates and eyeballing numbers sometimes. So I'm gonna open my own MyFitnessPal and show you how I input my food. So this is how the app looks like. So we are going to go to diary, and of course it's empty since I haven't tracked anything today yet. But let's go through the typical things that I eat during a day. So let's say that I ate some eggs and some toast for breakfast. So I'm gonna be looking for eggs. So I ate medium eggs this morning. I ate 2 medium eggs this morning. I just pressed check and it's already added. And if you see this top portion of the app, it's going to show you the summation of the whole day. So your calorie target, which is 3,000 for me, minus the food that I ate, plus the exercise. So if you remember the last video, I don't really track exercise, so this number stays as 0. Of course, I fried the eggs, so I have to input the oil. So one secret here is to not forget the liquids that we take. So calories can be in liquids as well. The sauces that we eat, the oils that we eat, especially those two can be really calorie dense. So if you skip out on tracking those two, then that's a big discrepancy that you're creating right there. So let's say that I used 15 ml, 2 slices of toast. So this is my typical breakfast. So that meal is 404 calories. So let's do another example meal. Let's go through my typical lunch. So I'd usually pan fry some chicken breast in olive oil and eat that with the rice. So I'm gonna go ahead and search rice. So I weigh my rice cook. I'd go ahead and search chicken breast. So notice if I input chicken breast, there are so many searches because MyFitnessPal runs on user inputs. So stick around to the end of the video to hear a tip on how I go about choosing the inputs in MyFitnessPal. But I'm gonna go ahead and choose the one that is already on my search history. Chicken breast. Let's say that I had 220 grams of chicken breast. The good thing with MyFitnessPal is the more you track and the more you input, it's gonna save your inputs and it's gonna remember the food that you input. Now it's always good to use one input all the time. So if you choose this chicken breast, you're always going to use this input of chicken breast when you track chicken breast. And of course, I pan fried this in olive oil. So I usually use 30 ml of olive oil, which I would measure with a measuring spoon. So this meal got me 751 calories. So as you see, I still have 1,800 calories left. That's a lot of food. That's a lot of calories. So if you want to see the macro side of things, we click this pie chart thing on the upper right. So we have the calories, nutrients, and macros tab. We can go to the macros tab, but I stay on the nutrients tab, and we only pay attention to protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So basing on how I'm tracking, I already had a lot of fat. I still need to catch up on my protein and carbohydrates. Having said that, my next few meals during the day should be more protein and carbohydrate heavy meals. Now on some days, I'd have a lot of protein right off the bat in the morning so that I don't have to worry about it so much during lunch and dinner. So a good practice when you're tracking your calories and macros is to weigh your food raw, especially meats, to keep things more consistent. So during the cooking process, you don't know how much of the water in the meat is going to evaporate. So that's another variable that you're just trying to take into account. So just weigh it raw as much as you can. It's also good to try to track individual ingredients versus the whole dish. So if you eat chicken adobo on a regular basis, instead of searching chicken adobo, although we do have chicken adobo inputs in MFP, it's always better to input the ingredients one by one. So as I was saying, MyFitnessPal runs on databases. So when you search something, you'd have so many inputs. So a nice way to check if the inputs are actually correct is to counter check the macro and the calorie counts. So if you remember last video, I explained the calculations of how many calories is in a gram of each macro. So looking back on our example of chicken breast, 220 grams of chicken breast gives me 242 calories, given it has 2.2 grams of fat and 50.6 grams of protein. So 50.6 grams of protein times 4 is 202, and 2.2 grams of fat times 9 is 19.8. And if we take the sum of that, we'd have 222 calories. So this one is kinda off. Anywho, that's how I check if the inputs are accurate enough. Another tip is to not forget to track your sauces and juices. So these are calories that tend to sneak their way into our diets. So for things like this, we don't weigh the food. We actually use measuring cups and measuring spoons instead. Like how I measured my oil with a measuring spoon. Now when you're eating a food with some sauce that you don't know what's in the sauce, just assume that the thicker the sauce, the more fat it has. So most people don't bother tracking their vegetables anymore. So I'm not saying that we don't eat vegetables, I'm saying that we don't bother tracking them. Because you will eventually find out that it takes more time to track and to measure the vegetables, only to find out that they have little to no calories. So vegetables are very low in calories and it's not really worth it to track because they're negligible. That doesn't mean that you don't track the oils and the sauces that you eat with your vegetables. So if you're eating green beans with cheese, track the cheese. Also, that doesn't mean that you should skip out on tracking vegetable-based juices. So if you're drinking some cucumber shake that has a lot of sugar in it, then you should track that as well. Also, don't forget to track your fruits. So fruits have calories. When you're eating out, this is when your eyeballing skills come into play, and this is going to be very important in the future. So use the information that you've gathered from tracking your food at home, use that outside. So when you track 200 grams of meat, then kind of visualize how big that chunk of meat is, so that when you eat out and order the same kind of meat, then you get a good estimate of how many grams is in that piece of meat. So don't be that guy who brings a food scale to a restaurant. Trust me, I've been there, you're gonna get some weird looks. So that's basically it. Again, this is a very good habit to establish, especially early on your fitness career. Now, we don't want to be tracking our food forever, so eventually you're going to have to learn to wean off of it. So I haven't been tracking for around more than a year now. I track every now and then when I'm trying to cut fast and cut quick. But that's only because I've paid my dues of years tracking my food on a daily basis. It also gives you a better understanding of the macronutrient makeup of each food. Some people still believe that legumes and nuts are high in protein. Yes, they have protein, but they're not high in protein. They're actually high in fat. You'd also eventually be surprised how an avocado can be a really high-calorie snack versus an ice cream. So some ice creams can actually be relatively low-calorie. Again, these are things that you are going to learn by yourself along the way. So again, pay your dues, track your macros on a daily basis, and your future self is going to thank you for it. So now that you have a better understanding of how to track your macros and calories, the next question that arises is, how much calories and macros do I eat on a daily basis? So if you want to learn that, stick around for the next video. Thank you for watching this one. I'm going to see you in the next one. Peace.